Attention wrestling fans, you're in the blast zone for the only podcast where we blow kayfabe wide open and let you know what it really takes to become a professional wrestler. Presented by America's Academy of Professional Wrestling, this is the Buckle Bomb, and you're about to get blown up.
All right, welcome to the new and different Buckle Bomb podcast, where we blow kayfabe wide open and let you know exactly what it takes to become a professional wrestler. I'm your host, Buck, and this is episode 0. And we have a guest here.
Hi, I am CJC.
We're joined here today by Caleb Jean Cartier. How you doing?
Doing good. How are you, man?
I'm doing all right.
Awesome.
The new direction of the show is now we talk more about the process of becoming a professional wrestler, not just about professional wrestling,
Okay.
not about professional wrestlers, but about how to become a professional wrestler.
Okay, I like it.
All right. And since this is our first episode, what's the first step of becoming a professional wrestler, in your opinion?
Oh, well, man, you got to find a school. You got
That's
to
true.
find a
That's
school. I
true.
mean, you got to learn how to be a wrestler in order to become a wrestler. So, right? So,
Now, did you say that because you believe that, or because I told you that's the topic of today's episode?
I mean, I believe it too. But I mean, once you kind of decide like this is a journey that you're going to take, you got to figure out how to do it, right? And
Right,
eventually, you're going to
absolutely.
look up how do I become a wrestler, and 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to tell you you got to go find a school to get trained.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. Before I had no idea that there were schools for this.
Yeah, like I guess when you're growing up and you're watching WWE and all that stuff, you see all these guys and they're like, oh, the former collegiate wrestler, or like this guy was in the NFL or NBA or whatever. So you're like, oh, maybe they just grab athletes, and then they're like, all right, well, I guess we'll teach you how to do this.
Right.
But even then, I guess they got to learn somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, do they just go to the gym where there's a wrestling ring and they learn how to do it, or is there schools for it? And sure enough, there's schools for it. So.
So how did you find AAPW?
So I so my story was at the start of the pandemic. I was kind of one of those food service workers that was on the chopping block with everything that was going on.
Right.
And so I kind of took an opportunity to go, all right, let's reset and try to find something to do that I've always wanted to do, which was wrestling. So I kind of started doing the research, like, hey, how do I become a wrestler? Like, what's the first steps to it? And then, like I said, we started finding out, okay, you need to go find a school to get trained. So I was like, all right, well, let's see. I mean, it's Texas. There's probably a wrestling school somewhere around here. And so I looked up, and sure enough, there was one 5 minutes down the road, and it was America's Academy of Pro Wrestling. So first Google search to pop up when I searched in wrestling schools in Austin. Yeah, and then here I am. So
Yeah, I actually I didn't have to Google it. So I was at a convention once, and there was a just really out of place wrestling show there, and I was just like, all right. I didn't think I even liked pro wrestling at the time, but I watched it and I was like, well, that's pretty cool. So then I started talking to some of the guys, and I was like, hey, how do you learn to do that stuff? And he's like, oh, there's a school. I'm like, a wrestling school? Okay.
Yeah.
And then then I sat around for 3 years, and then I finally joined up at AAPW.
Yeah, you got there eventually.
Yeah,
Very
eventually.
good. What was that DreamCon or whatever that they do those wrestling shows at?
No, it's actually one in Austin called IkiCon. It's an anime convention, so pro wrestling was just there.
Interesting.
And I was just like,
It's funny how those two genres kind of like meet sometimes.
Well, you know what they say, pro wrestling is anime for rednecks.
I have heard that before, yeah.
Have you?
Yeah, actually, I've heard that before.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I think that's a saying people know.
I think so. Yeah, some people say that, I guess. But yeah. So yeah, found AAPW and got in and tried to, I guess, got to meet Papa Don and all the people running it. I think Steve-O was still one of the head trainers at the time. And got to start learning from them. Start with the fun basics of learning how to fall down the right way so that you don't get hurt too bad.
Yep. That's the first hurdle to get over.
Yeah, just building those calluses so that every time you're getting smacked on the mat, it's not like as painful. But you know.
All right, so let's talk about you. Let's talk about Caleb Jean Cartier. How's things going for Caleb Jean Cartier right now?
Going great. I mean, looking back at where I was a year ago, I was in a sling fresh out of surgery. So you know, then now I'm the longest reigning AAPW America's champion.
Nice.
Just barely beat out a T-Ray's reign So I mean, to have that kind of company as a champion here at the school with like people like Manny Domingo, Steve-O, El Rayo, all people that held the title before me, even Leroy Brown had it for a little while there. It's just cool to be able to have that company with that title and then be able to say that I've had it the longest. It's just something cool. But even outside the school, I mean, June's looking pretty fun. I mean, getting to go out to different places. We got the team Culture Shock. It's me, Ollie Summers, and Danny O'Ryan, a little 3-man group there. And we're getting out, getting to work down in this, just different companies all over the place. Like we're getting to go to San Antonio a lot. We get to go to this place called Uvalde. I hope I said that right.
I think it's Uvalde.
Uvalde. I call it Uvalde, but that's because the people stink down there. But that's fine. And then we get to go down. Yeah, we get to go down to the border, McAllen, every once in a while.
Oh yeah.
There's another school down there that I guess puts on shows, and we work with them every once in a while. And then I even got to do a show on WrestleMania weekend, which was awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's been wild. Like if you told me 2 years ago when I was starting at the school and like learning how to do bumps and all the basics that like, hey, in 2 years you're gonna get to go out on the road and have fun. And wrestle with your 2 best friends and get to have a blast, like I'd probably be like, all right, well, let's see. But now I'm getting to do it, and it's kind of cool, and it's just getting started, so it's awesome.
So, God, I'm trying to think of a new question, because my next question was how are things going away from AAPW? But
I led into it for my bad. Yeah. I should have let you just ask it.
Very intuitive. So why did you start?
Well, like actually, like I said, I mean, there was the whole reason of like just kind of coming to the realization with the pandemic stuff hitting that, you know, I hadn't really done a lot of stuff that I wanted to do yet in life. And I mean, I'm not like old, right, by any means per se, but like this week I am turning 30. So I'm getting to the point where it's like, okay, I want to start doing stuff that I want to do.
Right.
And one thing that I've always wanted to do ever since I first watched wrestling, and I remember it was a WrestleMania match, Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold was my first one as a little kid watching them fight. I was like, man, I would love to do that.
Now, was that in person or on TV?
It was on TV. It was when I was a kid up in Toronto. My friend, I was over at his house, and he was like, hey, you want to watch wrestling? And I was like, I don't know what that is.
Oh, so you're an actual Canadian?
Yeah, I am actually Canadian. I'm from Toronto.
Gotcha,
so, yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah, but technically outside of Toronto. It's a city called Burlington. But,
Burlington.
Yeah.
But is that where the coats come from?
No, I think that's Vermont.
Ah.
But it was a good joke.
that was actually a genuine question.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, yeah. No. It was. I think it's Burlington, Vermont. But yes, the same spelling, same idea. I guess.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah. So watching that as a kid, and then in the early 2000s, I was like a big TNA fanatic. Back when they had the X Division, they had people like Petey Williams, the Canadian Destroyer, and all those guys. Right. And then, which is like a common theme for me. I seem to gravitate to all the Canadian wrestlers, like wanting to learn from them, which is kind of where CJC came from. Is CJC is like wants to honor that technical style of Canadian wrestlers and like all the kind of like, you know, Bret Hart, all those guys, Owen Hart. But yeah, so like just kind of get back to the question, getting into wrestling it's kind of one of those moments in your life where like, all right, this is something I've always wanted to do. I have the opportunity to do it. For lack of better words, the stars seem to be aligning that there's an opportunity for me to learn how to do it when I found the school here. So why not do it? And so I did, and I'll be honest with you, it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Absolutely. I feel the same way.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. It's kind of cool. I mean, like, how many people get to say, you know, I get to go out every weekend and, you know, whatever, play this crazy character or whatever it is that you do, but I get to get into a ring and perform for people and do what I want to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what are your goals still?
Like just short term or just like in general?
Short term, long term, whatever.
I mean, short term is just trying to get more outside of the school, just trying to just travel. Like, I mean, nothing against doing shows here. It's just you want to get more exposure.
No, yeah, you got to get out there.
Yeah, you got to get out there. I would love to try to get out of Texas, like just a show out of Texas, not necessarily like, oh, I need to get out of here, like, period. But like in the near future, like I would like to try to maybe go. I know a couple people have gone out and done shows in Arkansas and Oklahoma and Louisiana, places like that. So that would be kind of cool. I'd love to try to get back out. I grew up in Virginia for a good chunk of my life, and so I'd love to get up there and try to do a show there. But then as far as like long-term stuff, just because it's the style that I really like and I really try to emulate, I would love to wrestle in Europe. UK is like a big, huge thing that I study with wrestling, whether it's Progress in London, or NXT UK, or even if you want to go back and watch World of Sport with Johnny Saint and some of those guys, and like just kind of the places where like people like Fit Finley and Steven Regal came from, or William Regal, those kind of guys. Like that would be cool for me long term. I would just love to get out there and maybe train with some of those people and just kind of learn the style. But yeah, so big goals for that is just kind of getting out. I mean, honestly, you know, you got a lot of guys that say like, I want to get signed. I want to go out and do like AAPW. I want to do WWE or whatever the big company is, or go over to Japan. I mean, Japan would be awesome too. But for me, it's like if I could make a living doing this, that would be one that then I've made it for me. Right. I don't care where I'm doing it per se, as long as it's not like some shady place or whatever. But if I can get paid to do this and I get to do it every weekend, then in my eyes, I'm winning.
Absolutely. So. Yeah, success, I've found through my own experiences, success in professional wrestling is defined in different ways from person to person. Like everybody thinks the ultimate goal is, you know, get on TV, get in one of the major companies, get an action figure made out of you, you know, make millions, buy a 6-story house and all that. But, you know, there's different ways to find success in this business, right? Right,
yeah. And I mean, it's not like, you know, back in the day, I guess, or, you know, I mean, I guess it wouldn't even be that long ago, but a lot of people, it was like WWE was like the end goal because it's such a juggernaut as far as this business goes. But nowadays, people are realizing that they can make money and still pay their bills, and they don't have to go to the WWE to do that. Right. I mean, you even got people like wrestlers that just work indie circuits now, and they're still making like 6 figures and stuff just by doing it because they've built such a good brand of character for them, and they believe in themselves for that, and so they're able to go out and do this thing, and they're just doing shows all over the place, and they're getting to travel the world and pay their bills doing it. So I mean, it's like, you know, you don't have to just go to WWE, you don't have to just go to AEW to do it, and I mean, that's kind of cool, honestly.
Yeah, the travel aspect is really interesting to me.
Yeah.
The furthest I've worked is down at the Mexican border, and like, I don't know, driving 4 hours, I was like, this is the furthest I've ever gone on my own. I'm like, I'm on a adventure over here. Yeah, let's censor that.
I was about to ask, are we allowed to? But
I'm trying to avoid that.
Okay, but, I mean, I can avoid it. I just wanted to know.
No, yeah, okay. I appreciate that. I already screwed that up.
Take it to editing.
Yeah, take it to editing. And shout out to our technician Cola over here, new member of the Buckle Bomb team.
Yeah, it's a completely revamped team.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy.
Danny O'Ryan, I think he's a little too busy being a resident star boy and now a statewide star boy.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. He's he's all over the place. It's me and Ollie kind of joke around that we're just we're tagging along with him on some of these shows. But it's really awesome. I mean, you can't help but be excited when you see your friends getting to do the thing too.
Oh, so, absolutely,
I mean, it's awesome. But yeah, Danny O'Ryan, I don't think he's got time to do podcasts right now, so he's kind of all over the place. So it's cool.
Yeah, speaking of seeing friends, you know, making it. How about Manny Domingo?
Oh, dude, isn't that cool?
It's so cool.
I'm so excited. I mean, Manny was one of the people when I first got here that was like, it was huge. He was helping everybody out. Like he was that vet that's been doing this thing for so long. I mean, he's like what, 20 years or something in the business?
I believe so. Yeah, I think he started when he was 20. I think he started training at the previous incarnation of AAPW, like in 2000?
Something like that, right?
2002, something like that.
Yeah, I wish I knew the actual numbers. But I know it's somewhere in that range of like 20 years of experience. So, I mean, like getting to learn from somebody who's been doing it that long. And he's so good. Like,
so good.
Like, you like, super underrated. But, like, one of the things I've noticed is when we go around, when Culture Shock's going around and we're doing these shows in Texas and stuff, and we're talking about, like, where we come from because we're, like, you know, hey, we're from AAPW. If we even mention Manny's name, like no matter where you are, people are like, oh, Manny Domingo, he's the best. Like they'll go on, and it doesn't matter where you are. You can be in Dallas, San Antonio, wherever. They know Manny Domingo, and they know how great he is, and it's just really cool. But yeah, for his success, like finally getting that contract, getting to go up to Ohio. It was Ohio Valley, right? OVW, I think so. Yeah. Yeah, but just that's so cool for him, and I'm excited to see where he can break out, and he'll be close to the East Coast where he can maybe branch out. And I don't know how those contracts work, but like if he gets to go out and do other shows, that'll be just awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I think the takeaway for this is, don't give up on making it big, because as we said before, Manny's been doing this for 20 years.
Yeah.
And now he's finally getting that recognition that he's deserved for. I don't know. I've been around for coming up on 5 years now, and for those 5 years, I've seen Manny and just been like, that is professional quality there. That's big league stuff right there.
Yeah, I mean, and there's so many people like that unfortunately happens, but it's like you said, you just got to kind of, for lack of better terms, put your head down and like keep chugging away at the dream, and you'll eventually get it, right? I mean, there's so many people where it's just like, you'll talk to them, you'll watch them in the ring, and you're like, wow, this guy is so good, or this girl is so good. Why aren't they there yet? And then it's like, but it's just one of those things, as cliche as it is to say, it's like right place, right time.
Absolutely.
And if you're there and the right person sees you, then there's your ticket. So, yeah, but it's good. I'm excited for that, and then it's just a testament, like for getting back to like almost to the original topic of like finding a school, is like when you get to the school, like this, it's gonna be tough. And I'm sure you guys are gonna talk about this in like your other episodes, because it sounds like you're kind of progressing up the ladder of different things. But is when you actually find that school, like that's the easy part, man. Getting into the school and actually starting to train, like once you first take those first few bumps, you're gonna be like, man, this sucks. Like, and you're gonna have a couple of those kid guys that in the class, they're gonna be like, man, I thought this was, I don't like to use the F word, but I thought this was fake, right? And then you sit there, and the next thing you know, they're getting
censor that F word too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, censor that one. But they're like, oh, I thought it was this and this, and they think they've known all this stuff from watching it on TV, and then you start getting smacked around by some vet in the ring, and you're like, oh man, never mind. This stuff hurts.
Absolutely. The first time I actually showed up to AAPW, I showed up about 3 months before I actually started, but I was there to sign up, and then I saw what the training was, and I was like, oh, I thought we just got to put on, shiny pants and then just punch each other. But I'm like, they're just here throwing themselves at the ground, and that looks really painful.
Yeah.
And I remember I told Papa Don, I told him, I'm not afraid to admit that I'm a coward, but I have changed my mind on this. I went home and instantly regretted it, and then, said, I'm going to start hitting the gym and then come back to this, and I eventually did.
There you go.
But yeah, no, the barrier for entry is
it's tough. Like, I mean, looking back at my class, people that started, I think I can count on one hand the people that are left, and I think I was at 10 when we started. Which is also like more than what most people like. You ask most people, they'll be like, I'm the sole survivor.
Right. I'm definitely the only one still here from the batch 4 years ago. Still even in the business, guys I started with, like Romeo Cox, Rob the Builder, Grayson Knox, and trying to remember what his work name was. God, I'm blanking on it completely. But there was another guy, red hair, blue tights.
That one guy.
Yeah, that one guy. I'm the only one still working out in the indies, still like in the business,
Right, yeah. Yeah, the people fall off quick, because it's
Absolutely.
like as much as a lot of people want to do this, it's not for everybody, unfortunately. And which is probably a good thing, because it would be a lot harder for us to find work if it was for everybody.
Right.
So, and it's already really hard to find work. So,
absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, that's just part of it. And like I said, I know you guys will get into that, but the never giving up part is just one theme that I'm sure you guys will find is like a constant theme. As you're going through all the different steps of becoming a wrestler, or however you end up going through this journey.
Right.
But yeah, that's like the big overarching theme. I mean, like hell, a year ago, like I said, we alluded to it. I was sitting in a sling I mean, January 2021, I blew my shoulder out.
Yeah, how did that happen again? Because I remember it was one of those. I was there that night, and I remember it was one of those things that, like, it just seemed like the kind of thing where you wouldn't like break a bone.
Yeah,
but you did.
It was a roll. I mean, essentially, it was like we were practicing like moves and stuff, learning new moves, and this time we were learning, for lack of better words, it was like a Hurricane Rana move out of the corner. And so
wasn't it off the ropes?
Yeah, it was like it was the one where you walk your hands out on the ropes, swing out, and send them into the middle. Except I didn't get sent out to the middle. I got sent into a corner where Papadon was standing. So I stuck my right arm out to block myself, which was a terrible mistake. Mm-hmm. And as much as I love Papadon, I probably should have just taken him out. But I ended up blowing my shoulder, and I separated my shoulder. And the way they grade these things, I guess, is like from 1 to 6. And I got a 5. And the doctor that told me that said that the only 6 he had ever seen was on a cadaver from a car crash.
Jeez.
So he was like, you're basically one of the worst ones I've ever seen. But so now I have a big metal cable and 2 buttons that hold my shoulder together. Mm-hmm. And he told me it was going to be, so circle back. This kind of goes to the whole no giving up thing. I got told 1 year before I'd be able to come back to wrestling. Mm-hmm. That was in my surgery was March 2021. I finally got surgery. And then by August 2021, I was back in the ring.
So you didn't wait the full year?
No, man. I don't got time for that.
Did you get doctor clearance?
Yeah. I came back. Okay, I came back after 3 months. Yeah, after 3 months, I was sitting there, and he looked at my shoulder, and he's like, "All right, move your arm," and I could almost fully rotate it, and he just went, "I don't know what you're doing, but it's working. Keep it up."
Nice.
And next thing I was back in the ring. I mean, there's still stuff where like I got to protect it, and there's definitely certain moves where I'm still a little, scared to take them, kind of thing, or like try to work around it. But
definitely.
That's just part of it. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah.
So let's end this off with story time.
Sure.
What was your first day training like?
It was hot.
Always hot at AAPW.
Yeah, so especially now. I was the June 2020 class. Very first week of June, and I think it was like 90-something degrees outside. Mm-hmm. And they were just out doing the runs a second ago, but basically we do like a workout at the start of the class where we're outside, running in the heat, mm-hmm. Which really sucks in July and August when we're like Texas 100-degree weather.
Right.
So I remember that very vividly. I remember that because one of the guys that started with me, he was his character name was Alberto Reyes. But I remember him throwing up just everywhere. And he was just one of the many people that threw up everywhere that day.
Yeah, I threw up on my first day.
Yeah, I came close to. So it's just it was. I remember that, and then I remember the rolls being awkward because you're trying to like learn how to do it. It's just kind of one of those weird things that if you've never done them, it's just like, okay, cool, just got to learn it.
Right.
And then, the very first day of class is always bumps and learning how to take bumps. Yep. And man, if you don't think about it, if you're not at least thinking about like, dang, do I want to do this after the first few bumps, then I think you're probably crazy. So, yeah. But after the first few bumps, it was just like, I don't know, man. But, you just keep telling yourself like, no, you want to do this. You want to do this. And, But yeah. Yeah,
and then you got to go home, and suddenly it just hits you how much you've screwed yourself up. Oh yeah, and then especially if you're a class like mine and you were always getting in trouble and you were having to do squats for that, man. The second class was funny watching like 3 or 4 of us walking with like spaghetti legs, looking like baby giraffes trying to walk into the ring because our legs were so sore. Yeah, it's just like, man. But again, that's just one of those things. You keep chugging through it, and eventually you get used to it. Right.
But yeah. As far as first day class, that's that's what I remember. I remember people throwing up, it being hot, and hurting a lot the next morning. But now it's just that's just part of it, and it's like part of the fun stuff.
Yep.
Not the throwing up, but the hurting isn't as bad anymore.
Yeah, it's not as bad. You eventually get those calluses.
Yeah.
I need to figure out topics that can be longer because we rolled right past the topic.
I have a couple questions on the topic if you want me to.
Oh, okay. Questions from our engineer, Cola.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know you mentioned earlier that when you found AAPW, it was kind of just like a Google search away, right?
Yeah.
Like first kind of result.
Sure.
But I guess sort of in retrospect, right? Like now that you've been here, you've been part of like a school for like over a year, like 2 years almost, right? What would you look for now if you can go back to that moment? Like, what are you looking for specifically when you're trying to find a school?
I think that's a good point. With schools and stuff, a lot of it should kind of depend on what your goals are, I guess. But big things for trying to find a school is I would find the people that have come out of that school. So for us, I would look at people like a Zach Taylor, El Rayo, Manny Domingo. You have Prince Adam, who's another amazing wrestler on the indies that's tearing up Texas. Just great wrestler. Those people, if looking at them now, if I understood wrestling the way I'm starting to understand it now, I would look at those people and go, okay, cool. If these guys came from that school, then they must have something going on there. For people who aren't near Austin and are looking for other schools, is again same thing. Look at the people who've come out of that school. Are they good? Like, are they trained? Are they trained? Maybe finding people with some kind of name value with the school. I'm not saying like it has to be some Stone Cold Steve Austin school or something like that, but like, what did the person do that's at that school? Did they not necessarily did they work WWE, but did they have a successful career in wrestling? Do they probably know what they're talking about, kind of thing? Obviously you going into a school, you don't know anything yourself. So having somebody there that might have a name value or somebody who's come out of there with some kind of name value might help you determine whether or not that's the right route.
Absolutely. In addition to that too, are there any like red flags you can think of too that might like turn someone off from a school or might be a good signal of what to avoid in looking for a program?
Yeah. If the person who is training at the school is part of the speaking out movement, please, for the love of God, don't go there.
I agree.
Yes. For the love of God, don't go there. I'm not going to mention any names, but there's probably a few around here. So just don't go to those ones.
Yep, absolutely.
And research that stuff. Like, please research that stuff. Speaking out movement was huge. Don't go to a place where there are predators and people who are like trying to hide. But that's other stuff you'll learn in the wrestling business.
Yeah. Well, that took a dark turn.
Sorry for that. But if I had to give you a big red flag, that's like one of the biggest red flags that popped up in recent years. So.
But that did remind me. I had ridiculously high expectations coming into a wrestling school because I remember I read online, and I don't know who wrote it, but somebody was like, "Oh, don't go to a wrestling school if they charge you more than $50 and they have less than 4 rings." And I'm just like, there aren't schools like that.
$50.
Yeah, $50 a month and 4 rings. That's
yeah. They don't have 4 rings if they're charging $50.
That's not a real place.
No.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I kind of had the opposite experience of like coming into a school. Like, I guess I just didn't have like super high expectations of this. And then when I came into the school for the first like tour, I don't know how it was for you guys. But I'm gonna name drop real quick. I'm sorry. When I walked into the school, I'm like, all right, cool. It's like, we're not in like some grand big building or something like that. We're in this, warehouse or whatever here in Austin. So I'm like, okay, cool. It's probably just a wrestling school, whatever. I walk in and I look at the ring, and the 2 people that are working out in the ring and training are Ricky Starks and ACH. And these are 2 people that like I watched on TV, and I'm sitting there just for a moment. You go, holy crap, this is real. And like, I think that was like a cool moment for me personally, because I was like, okay, this is how I know that maybe this school is something that can teach me something, because that's another name that came out of the previous previous version of this school. Yeah, iteration. Yeah, previous version of this school is another one, Ricky Starks, and I mean, that name speaks for itself.
Right.
You have another person that wasn't a product of this school, but comes around every once in a while, and that's ACH, and again, that name speaks for itself. Mm-hmm. So I mean, And I think even like there's some WWE names too, like the NXT Women's Champion, or she used to be NXT Women's Champion, Raquel or Reina Raquel. I can't remember exactly what name she's going by nowadays. Another one that trained here. Jordan Grace, I'm pretty sure came through here a while back. I mean, that's another one that was Impact. I think that was a very brief time, but again, people that have come through here, these doors see people come through, and it's cool. You can learn from a lot of names.
Right.
I mean, just to keep putting over AAPW. I mean, just in the time that I've been here, we've had training seminars with people like Jay Lethal.
Oh yeah.
Which like getting to learn from somebody like that is crazy.
Absolutely.
Crazy opportunity. So I mean, like AAPW provides those opportunities for you. So like getting into schools that offer that too, seminars, awesome. Another way to learn.
Definitely,
if you get into a school, even if it's a seminar an hour down the road, if it's somebody that you think you can learn from, just go to it.
Mm-hmm. And isn't it great how Jay Lethal is like nice in person?
Yeah, I mean he's a regular guy. Like it's cool. Like you see, and it's funny because I don't know about you. It's like that's somebody I grew up watching. Like I was kind of alluded to it earlier. I was a big TNA mark when I was growing up, and so seeing one of the guys that was like one of the mainstays there, and like somebody I watched every week on TV, coming in, going like, oh yeah, you can work on this, and like just talking to me plainly like a normal person. Like you sit there and part of you, the little kid in you, is going like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, and then at the same time you go, okay, hold on, calm down. Like this guy's teaching me some stuff. This is really cool. Like.
It was kind of the same for me. Like I didn't watch wrestling as a kid. I started watching around when I was like 25. But I would watch Ring of Honor, and I'd see Jay Lethal, and I'd go, okay, that's the cool guy. That's the cool guy that I like to watch wrestle. And just having the opportunity to learn from him for a little bit was it's awesome. And just getting to go to schools and try that. That's another thing, I guess, is something that I've been taught by some of the veterans that have kind of taught me what I know, is that you don't necessarily need to stand with the same school too. Like once AAPW focuses on certain things, like AAPW is really great with getting the basics down. So like you kind of learn, you can get a foundation from here, but like it's kind of like anything else you're trying to learn a craft with. You don't want to stay with the same place forever too, right? Right.
Finish our curriculum here, graduate from AAPW, and then go to other schools and learn from them. There's a lot of schools in Texas if you're staying there. If you want to branch out and learn more, there's... And
even a little closer to home, there's a certain school, which I've noticed there's been like... You'd really think it'd be like kind of in competition, but I feel like there's kind of a cross-pollination going on right now.
Yes, there is another school in Austin. It is a fortune compared to ours, and it's a shorter... teaching.
See,
classes and stuff, but
what I think of it is it's a different kind of program.
Yeah, it's different. I feel like I think the people that I've talked to there is like it kind of helps you get more like, for lack of better words, TV ready, I guess.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. That is what I've heard. Ryo's gone there, Zach's gone there, and it's done wonders for them. But also,
it's all great stuff.
Also, we're seeing a lot of people who start their journey there, get through their program, and then start training here too.
Yeah, and then they come to us.
Yeah,
because then they're like, all right, well, they kind of get that drive to keep learning stuff, right? And so you take that and you go, all right, they finish up at their school, and they say, okay, well, where else can I learn? And they see AAPW, and they go, okay, well, that's another school. Let me try it out.
I know it's been surprisingly symbiotic.
Yeah, it's cool. I think it's nice when it works out that way, especially. Once you start and work with people from other schools, like whether or not we're working with people in schools from San Antonio or that McAllen school down the border that I talked about earlier, is getting to train with those guys too. Makes it way easier when you're working with them on the shows, because you kind of, the more you train together, the more you kind of understand each other, and the more you can kind of work better with each other, which you don't always get that benefit. Sometimes you're going to show up to a show and it's going to be some random guy that you've never met before, and you got to go work a match, but that's just part of it. So.
Well, all right. Cola, can you think of a good way to wrap it up?
I would love to plug the AAPW social media, but I don't have that committed to memory.
Right.
Wow, yeah, why didn't you think of that?
Right. Gotta ABP, always be plugging. Okay. You can find Buckle Bomb eventually and everything else related to AAPW at Facebook.com/official AAPW. YouTube, just search up AAPW. You'll find it. What do you have coming up?
Sure. Hold on one second. It's Twitter is at Caleb J. Cartier. It's just Carter with an I. And then
Where is the I?
It's after the T.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it just kind of sneaks up on you there. And then Instagram, it was different because I'm weird. Instagram is CJC_Canada for Instagram, and that's all I got. I don't really have a Facebook. As far as shows coming up, I have one here at AAPW. I'm defending my title. It's actually like I said earlier, it's my birthday this week, so I'm actually getting a rematch of my debut match, my very first match I ever had, which was Steve Areno, the Pinfall Wizard.
Nice.
So I'm going to have a match with him again, which is cool. June is got some shows. I'm going down to Next Level Wrestling, which is in you said Uvalde
Places.
Something, Texas, yeah. Next Level Wrestling. So we got a match. I'm pretty sure it is me and Ollie teaming up against the Pretty Young Things, which is great. We've never faced them before. Looking forward to that.
A lot of tag teams with Pretty in the name. Yeah,
Pretty Boy Rock, Pretty Young Things.
I mean,
a lot of Pretty Boys.
Two is a lot.
Yeah. And then June, what else I got? June's got more matches. Oh, there's another tag match. With Ollie. I'm going against Juventud Araya and then Principe Celestial. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. So that's another tag match at Next Level. And yeah, I think it's just a lot of matches with Next Level. And then AAPW probably sprinkled in here and there.
Right.
Yeah.
As always.
Yeah. And then end of June is another show. June 25th in San Antonio for San Antonio Pride we have Pride Championship Wrestling. I'm pretty sure I will be down there possibly working with Leroy Brown from AAPW, and then another graduate of AAPW, Matt the Wrestler. So we got scheduled for Pride Week in San Antonio, so that'll be fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think we're doing setting up somewhere. I don't know. We'll find out. I'm still learning about it too, so that'll be cool.
Well, all right. Don't know when this is coming out, but probably an AAPW show this Saturday, whenever this is. Okay. This has been the Buckle Bomb with your host Buck, Caleb Jean Cartier, Cola the engineer, and also Jacob was here for some reason.
Jacob was that random voice that you'd hear every once in a while,
yeah.
And then the TikTok video that he accidentally played while I was talking one time.
We had a job for him, but he just kind of ended up here. Anyway, done. This is the new and different Buckle Bomb, and we're just kind of making it up as we go along. So you have been in the blast zone and blown up.